Welcome to the comeback season, where we have real conversations about fueling your body, rebuilding strength, and stepping back into the life you were meant to live. Whether you've been caring for kids, aging parents, or just lost sight of your own needs, we see you. And this is your season to rise. Hello, my name is Nichole McLeod with Healthy Mind, Healthy Body. I'm a mindset and fitness coach and the author of I Started on a Tuesday. I know what it feels like to lose yourself in the chaos and still hold on to the hope that something better is coming.
And I'm Christy Kelsey from Christy Counts Macros, nutrition and mindset coach and food freedom advocate. I've worked with lots of women who felt stuck, restricted, and unsure where to even begin. Together, we're bringing you honest conversations, healing truths, and real strategies to help you rise again, physically, mentally, and emotionally, whether you've hit rock bottom or you're just tired of putting yourself last. This space is for you because this is your comeback season, and it starts right now.
Welcome back to the comeback season. I am so excited for today's episode. Everyone listening to this show knows the transformation starts in the mind, but most people stop there. They treat growth like an abstract idea instead of a physical reality. What if your ability to intentionally design the life you want is more powerful and more accessible than you've ever been told? Today on the comeback season, we are going beyond the surface. We're diving into a conversation about truth, alignment, and the power of coming home to yourself with my friend Lulu, the owner of Swell Women. Lulu has spent her career helping women reconnect with their power through mindset work, embodiment movement, and the undeniable strength of community. We're going to explore her personal journey, her philosophy on intentional living, and how to turn a temporary shift into a sustainable lifetime practice. Lulu, I am so excited to have you. Let's start off by you introducing yourself and just tell us what led you to Swell Women.
Well, thank you, Nichole. That was a beautiful introduction. It's like, it's funny when you start hearing someone talk about you. It's like, oh, so I don't have to say much, but yeah, I've been in this work and empowering women for probably over 2 decades and in many different varieties. But Swell Women, I stumbled on this. It was like a seed that was planted in my 20s when I fell in love with yoga and traveling on yoga retreats. And it just finally came to fruition in my 40s, where I had an opportunity to buy Swell Women in 2014. So I've really focused on empowering women using the modalities of surfing and yoga and breathwork visualization and so much more. And it just keeps building and building upon that. And it's so fun because I get to travel and meet women. And like you said, community is just like, for me, it's the most important thing. Yes. Because I feel like we can grow and expand and heal through community, and it's much better than being on your own.
Isn't that the truth?
Yeah.
You have built an incredible platform helping women reconnect, but the passion usually stems from that personal pivot point, that moment, even though you mentioned that it's kind of was always in you. Let's talk about there. Let's start there. What was that pivot point that you were like, this is what I need to do, and this is why?
Oh man.
Deep question.
I feel
I'm
like
sorry.
I've lived. Yeah, no, don't be sorry. I have been in deep inquiry on myself and my path and healing since I was 27 years old. And yoga was my first kind of opportunity or segue into connecting with my body. I was definitely a person that was living more in the mind that created safety and definitely connected to like the spirit world and woo-woo stuff. So yoga brought me into my body, which is just like, that is the place where we are humans and we're having a human experience. So being in the body is very important. And I feel like yoga and connecting with my breath was the first time that I really stumbled on a truth, the true essence of who I am, who we all are, and how we're connected to everything. Like, think about the air. We're breathing the same air as millions and millions of people across the world. I mean, it might be slightly better or
Less
worse
polluted,
quality, but ultimately, yeah. And like the bodies of water that connect us all, and the moon, and all this beautiful things of being in this human experience. And so that was like the first segue, and I was like, wow, yoga is so amazing. Why wouldn't I want everyone to experience this or some form of this connection of breath? which brings
Mhm.
you to the present moment, which is ultimately where we all really, that's where the bliss begins, when we are fully in the present moment, not, not prisoned by our past, and definitely not worried about the future because ultimately, it's unfolding day to day. And
Mhm.
so that in my 20s, that planted the seed of getting in my body. And then it really just kept, I feel like I'm like this flower, this lotus flower that's, from the dirt, the muck, the disgustingness of,
Yeah.
being in this yucky pond to birthing into where I am now, which is, 57 years old. So I've been doing the work for 30 years. I don't call it work. I call it more like self-discovery. And
Isn't that the truth? That
yes,
is
it's just a
so
journey. It's
true.
our journey of
Yes.
what keeps us separate from the beautiful beings that we are and that we were born into, right?
Mhm.
And so again, Swell Women was it's something that I took over and I launched globally, and it's evolved over the last 11 years because what started out are of passions of yoga and surfing are now it now has gone even further. It's like opportunities. What I witnessed after 11 years and hosting hundreds of retreats for thousands, over 1,000 women, is that these opportunities are so beautiful because you disconnect from your everyday life. And it's almost like when
Mhm.
you get on that plane, you just have an opportunity to connect with yourself and nothing else exists.
Yeah.
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 And when you land, you're like in a new country and everything is new. And somehow you can give yourself a reprieve from the everyday, mundane, in and out life, and who you are and all the roles that you play. And I'm getting goosebumps. And it's making me emotional. It's like, and then, with the surfing and yoga, it just allows you to connect with your breath, connect to the inward journey with yoga. And the external factors of surfing, it's like you're really riding the waves of life, right? This one day could be like dropping into a beautiful wave and you're meeting the energy of, the ocean and everything that exists, and you're so present and it's just amazing. And then the next time you could be beaten up and held under and it's like, oh, wow. And it
Kind of like
shows you
life,
how
isn't it?
it's life.
Symbolic.
Exactly. It's like, whoa, okay. And so we always have our breath and we have our heartbeat, and it builds resilience and confidence. And it's all about tapping into your truth, the true essence of who you are, not what keeps us separate, the stories that keep us separate, the beliefs, the fear, connecting to that. And then our power, like we are highly creative human beings, and to tap into that power and to let go of the fears and limiting beliefs that are keeping us from actually gaining forward momentum. That's where the beauty exists, and that's my passion, really. And it's healing not only from the mind. I've done that for many, many years, but also dropping into the body, because the body is like this beautiful map showing us it holds trauma, emotions, blockages of energy. And our purpose is really to get that energy flowing in our bodies so that we can drop into our heart space, lead from our heart, let the mind follow with inspired action. And that's really living a life of truth, power, and purpose.
That's incredible. And the moment you said that you got goosebumps, that is incredible because I actually was getting goosebumps at the
I know.
exact
It's
same
like, woo!
time.
Exactly.
But
I'm like,
something you
something's,
said,
I'm like, wow, it's still happening.
but you said it, awareness. 50%
Awareness.
of your success in anything you do in life is surely come out of the belief that it's possible. If you believe that it's possible, you are halfway there. And when you were talking about that connection, I've been a trainer for 30 years, a fitness coach. It's been in the
Yeah.
last year that I've incorporated somatic coaching and neuroscience into my fitness. And I can't believe the difference. I didn't add any more fitness to it. I didn't add a harder program. I added a connection element between the mind and the body for people to start tapping into themselves. And I also want to point out that you and I are both experts of decades. And you mentioned it earlier, the journey. It changes.
Yeah.
It changes for us. You and I have known each other for, I guess, 2 years now. Actually, it's our
Yeah.
anniversary, actually, Lulu.
Oh my God, it is.
It is
Holy
actually
shit.
our
It's
anniversary.
actually our 2 year anniversary.
28th.
No
Was it
joke.
27th or 28th? I can't remember. It's soon. But anyway, it's in and around that. But
Was that only 2 years ago? Wasn't three?
that was 2 years
No.
ago. Isn't that crazy? But there's
Oh
my
my
case in
God.
point. The transformations in us that have allowed us to, connect to our clients and show our clients what this world can do for them. And it's not even a world, it's inside of each and every one of us.
Yeah.
And it's something that when you start taking serious, and I didn't 2 years ago, that Nichole was like just off in her own. I was great with the gym. I knew what to eat. I knew how to work out, but to what I needed to think. So let's get in there to the next topic of awareness. Once that awareness hits and you decide to move forward, you inevitably run into that internal chaos, which it's a reminder sometimes. So
Yeah. I mean,
layer that with your clients.
Yeah, I love that you're touching upon awareness, because for me, awareness is everything. You can, if you don't, I call it becoming the observer of your life. And really, the external world is a reflection of your internal world.
Yeah.
Okay. And a lot of us are leading the internal, we're hiding from what's inside and we're pushing it away and we're denying it. But there is, in all of us, I believe that there is a kind of dialogue that's running that is directly related to fear and limiting beliefs. I believe that those are the only two things that are standing in the way. And there's another layer of in that, which is nervous system, that awareness of what's driving the bus also means we have to regulate our nervous systems. And that's, through even the simplicity of the breath. But awareness is everything. So if you just sit down and you're like having dinner with your husband or your partner or whatever, and it's complaining. It's like, oh, wow, this was hard. And I don't want to wake up and go to work. And I don't want this and this and this. It's like, step outside of that and look at that as an invitation to just simply observe your life from the outside and
without
recognize.
Without emotion. I have to add that.
Yes, but also emotions are emotions are just emotions are guiding us all the time.
Let me rephrase that. Without the fear of the emotion. So
yes,
being able to tap into that and not thinking of your emotions as bad.
They're not bad. They're the keys. There's what they are showing us exactly what's going on. So if you're feeling these kind of, lower feelings of emotions, all emotions are good. We are definitely programmed not to honor our emotions.
Yes.
Myself included. I am now becoming emotionally intelligent. I am, meeting the edges of rage and ecstasy and not feeling shame around expressing any of that, right? Awareness, just bringing it back to that topic, it's so important because you are the architect of your life. Every single human is the architect. You get to decide. Every decision that you make, the external world is basically reflecting where that's coming from. And if you keep hitting roadblocks, it means something's standing in the way. Fear, limiting beliefs, is standing in the way of what your heart truly desires.
Yeah.
And you have the opportunity, every one of us has an opportunity to change that. I call it flipping the switch. We get to see that, oh, wow, when we take full responsibility for our lives, we can then choose and decide how we want to move forward, even if it feels scary.
That's a beautiful thing you just started with there, or continued with there, is taking personal responsibility. Personal responsibility is not pointing the finger of who's in the wrong.
No.
It's about how you respond accordingly. And it's funny, you also said about the emotional intelligence. Kind of sucks that it took us to get into our 50s to get
Come
that.
on. Are you 50, Nichole? You're not.
No, 50. Getting pretty close, knocking on the door.
Okay.
Got a year.
Well, you're in your 40s. Okay.
But it's coming. But I'm just saying, when yourself, you just mentioned that.
No, I'm 57 years old and I'm like, oh, wow. It was probably like it's actually 4.5 years ago when I met my partner. It's like, oh, I am so shut down emotionally.
Mm-hmm.
I only allow myself to feel good. And everything else gets shoved down. Because the way I grew up, anger is scary. It could lead to punishment, right? So we don't want to do that. I don't want to become my father. So we're all in resistance. I feel, my God, I'm sure there's many emotionally intelligent people out there, but I'm going to raise my hand and say that I am not, and I'm just beginning as a toddler. Babies are emotionally intelligent. They're wonderful. But when we start the
Yeah.
programming, when the programming starts and the beliefs start forming, like 3 to 7 years old, and moving forward, it's like we move out of this state of innocence
Hmm.
and being able to fully express whatever is going on. We might not have the words, but we can show through our bodies and our emotions what we need. But when we start moving into that 3 to 7 year old and start the development stages, then we're programmed to not express. It is not cool to have a tantrum in the grocery store when you really want a chocolate bar, right?
Yep.
Shh, be quiet, be quiet. You're too much. Oh my God, if you show people how happy you are, that's not good. That means you're selfish or you're gloating, right? So we're
Hmm.
programmed. And I don't know a single person that got that bypassed that.
Yeah, I have to agree with that.
Yeah. So awareness.
Yeah.
Bring awareness to what is really going on and what are certain situations making you believe about yourself,
But
right? Because it
let's
all
unpack
boils
something
down to
here.
that.
Let's unpack
Yeah.
something here quick before we go on. You mentioned the fear. And I think a lot of people
Mm.
don't realize that the fear is biologically affecting your logical brain. Because if
Yes.
fear is clouding, your amygdala is all fired. You're that
Yeah.
part of your brain's fired. Well, your system is called your rat system. You're going to be looking at everything that fits your narrative. And if it's fear, guess what you're going to find? Right. And then guess what doesn't come into play? Your prefrontal cortex, the logic. And there's so many other parts of the brain, but we have to remember, and I guess that's where I was going when I said remove the emotion. How about manage the emotion? Because if you let that go too far and it clouds your judgment, get
Yeah.
curious of the emotion. Interesting. I'm feeling angry. Don't identify with it, but you can feel it.
Yeah. I feel
Yeah,
instead of I am
that's right.
angry, I feel is much more powerful.
Yeah.
And fear, I feel like fear is a little bit, I mean, fear is definitely in the body. And yes, absolutely, it's keeping you safe. For most of us, I learned this from my surf coach in Maui. False evidence appearing real.
False.
Now, clear false evidence appearing real, fear. Now, clearly, there are situations, which is about 10% of the time, when there is real fear going on, really, really like, you know, an I don't know, earthquake, and you're on the verge of an accident. I'm looking out at the surf, and I'm like, that's probably way too big for me. There's a lot of body things going on that are holding me back from doing something that I want to do. And so you have to look at it like, what is this fear showing me? Is it real? Am I in imminent danger, or is this false evidence appearing real because of a belief that I'm afraid to be seen or heard, or I'm going to be ridiculed or judged, or right?
And
And
that's why
most
I
of the
take it as
time,
data points. Where are you
yeah,
getting at? The triggers. Yeah.
yeah, the triggers are just shining light on what needs to be healed inside of you. It really has nothing, for the most part, it does not have anything that's has to do with a situation with you blowing up with your partner or you know, having a meltdown because someone
Yeah.
didn't squeeze the sponge out of the sponge at the sink. You know,
Yeah.
it's like little
It's
things
a
like
big
that. I'm
deal,
like,
man.
it's a big deal. Or someone doesn't put down the toilet seat, like little things that accumulate over time, and we're getting triggered. We're bouncing around a little bit, and I want to make sure that you're on track. So I'm going to turn it back over to you, Nicole,
Well, our next topic I
because
want to
we
talk
could talk. We could
we
talk a
can
lot.
talk. Oh, yes. 4-hour episode.
Yeah.
So I want to actually extend off of those triggers and really getting those massive wins. And personally, it's being intentional, designing your daily life so that alignment can show up consistently. Because
Yeah.
consistency trumps intensity every time, all the time.
Correct.
You got to
Yes.
do little baby steps along the way. So let's unpack that now. Staying within our, I guess, mindset of what we want to achieve, but how intentional are we going to be with that?
Yeah, and again, it's bringing awareness. So if you are a person that really wants to get in the best shape of your life, and yet there's something stopping you from getting off the couch or packing that gym bag and committing to the classes and committing to the hard work that it takes if you're out of shape. Like if you want to get me in shape, Nicole, I'm in shape certain ways, but there are other ways where it would be really hard, like lifting weights. I mean, muscle has memory, but I'm not doing that. I'm walking, I'm doing these things. But so if you have this vision that I want to get in the best shape of my life because I'm getting a little bit older and I want to be able to show up and move. I want mobility when
Yeah.
I'm older and all these things, right? But you're seeing resistance, then you have to step into, you're kind of triggering yourself because
Hmm.
there's resistance. And when there's resistance, there's reason. So you have to ask yourself, what am I afraid of
Yeah. Yeah. And why?
and why?
Yeah.
And usually that will segue into a little bit of like a deep dive into your childhood and or like you don't want to be too much or you don't want to, there's certain things. It's really fascinating. And I know you are working with tons of women that have the desire to change their physical bodies and to get in the best shape of their lives. And yet they hit these roadblocks because it's more than if we can get them into their bodies, then you start to feel really good. You start gaining confidence. You start the inner glow. You're like moving, it's energy, right? But if you don't also work with the mind and be really curious about what's keeping you stuck in a pattern or stuck from moving forward, then it's tied to a belief system.
Lulu, I'm a bobblehead over here, just agreeing with you. I'm catching
Yeah,
my
well, I
echo.
mean, we
Yes,
speak the
yes.
same love
Yeah.
language.
Well, think about this, okay? I've been a trainer for 30 years. 30 years as of beginning of this month. That's
Wow,
incredible.
that's amazing.
But why has it only been in the last year that I've really seen results? And I'm not saying I haven't gotten results with clients over the years, of course. The ones that were intentional, aware, and wanted the help, no problem. I'm talking about those clients that came to me and quit after 3 weeks.
Yeah.
What was that? And I am finally breaking through this. And I started a program called Mindset Reset, and the results that I'm getting out of this. And what did I change? I added neuroscience to my portfolio of credentials. And as soon as
Yeah.
you incorporate the mind into the body and the body into the mind, that is where the magic happens.
Yep. And I'm flip.
I know
I
you're
mean,
the
I got into
opposite.
my
I was
own body,
thinking,
but I'm like I mean, surfing and yoga definitely get you into your body, but I
yeah,
am now more aware of how important those elements are and what it's doing because with over 1,000 women coming to my retreats, it's like everyone's having massive transformation and the feedback is amazing. And I'm like, wow, is it just because of the surf? No, it's not just because of the surf. And for you, it's like, so I've been opposite. I've been doing a lot of the mindset coaching because I've had to manage fear all my life. I've been
mm-hmm.
petrified of anything. And I think that, there's even things when dealing with the body and change is like, maybe you've been with your partner for 25 years and you're really comfortable in this kind of, maybe you're a little heavier than you want to be, or, and it's like, what will happen if I get into the best shape of my life?
Yeah.
Right? Will it be a threat to my partner? There's things that are, it's really, the mind is tricky.
The mind will
It's the hardest one to change.
it is, and it'll self sabotage you. So you have any element of fear, your brain will do you a favor and show you how to just not do the thing that's making you scared. Because our brains
Yeah.
are here to make us do what? Feel safe.
Safe,
Safety.
safe,
What safety? What
but
your brain
safety, even when
knows,
it's detrimental to yourself,
because it's not
it's,
safety, is what the
it's
brain
not
knows.
right. The brain's like, I don't care that I've been thinking this thought all my life. I feel really uncomfortable as not enough because what would I do if I was enough?
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
oop, I
Oh, it's
swore.
okay. It's all good.
Beep.
Beep. Oh, we got editing.
It's like, what would I do
Yeah.
if I was enough, if I was important, if I was worthy? How would I be? What changes would I make in my life?
Going to add on to that too. What small changes? Why do we
Yeah.
look at it as this big thing that has to change all at once? It took us decades to get here, man. So small life changes along the way give massive overhauls
Yes.
to the self.
Yeah. I totally agree. I feel like if you've set yourself in a vision that feels very overwhelming, you will not move forward. So you
Mm-hmm.
have to back off and you have to find that sweet spot where, I mean, as simple as this, I want to do a yoga practice every single day for like at least an hour, and then I'm in resistance. I'm like,
Yeah.
all right, well, I'm in resistance there. So if I back off to 45 minutes, does that feel better? Nichole, when I was getting back into a daily practice, I had to back up all the way to, I'm just going to roll out my yoga mat today.
And that's humbling.
And then it was like, oh, wow, this feels really good. Okay, I'm going to do this. I'm just going to roll out and I'm going to stay on my mat and let whatever organically happens for 15 minutes.
Love
And
it.
my comfort zone is really 30. And I'll put on a 30-minute, yoga or do my 30-minute practice. When I look at the clock, I'm like, oh shit, wow, it's been an hour. So
Mm-hmm.
again, it's the mind.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Just roll out
100%.
your mat. Just put your shoes on. I like the Mel Robbins thing, 5 4 3 2 1.
Five, four,
Just
three, two, one.
get
Yep.
the shoes on,
Do
get in
it.
the car, take it one step at a time, get the shoes on, get in the car, drive to the gym. If you still don't want to work out, that's okay. Go home.
Yeah. It's honestly, it's what I've told my clients for years.
Walk
I've told
through
them
the
walk to the end of
door.
the driveway, sit in your
Exactly. You're
car.
like, exactly. Yeah.
I'm going to do that
It's
next
like
time.
one step at a time,
Yes.
especially if you are in your first 30 to 60 days.
Yes. Give yourself
Super
grace.
important. Yes,
Man.
absolutely.
Like, look at our
Yeah.
world. Like,
Because it's intimidating. Look at all the excuses we make. Well, I don't have the right clothes yet, and I really need to go get a pair of sneakers, and I need to do this. I'm like, you don't need to do anything.
yeah.
You just need to follow what your heart desires.
Yeah.
One little baby step at a time.
100%. I want to talk a little bit about just to make people feel okay, it's not just me. You mentioned it once before here about the childhood trauma and that locked inside of you. And it could be actually, you didn't say trauma, but you said something that happened in your childhood. I want to talk about that a little bit because I want people to understand that if they're, reinventing themselves or trying to, or on this journey of a new transformation, things are going to come up. And being prepared for things that come up and having the ability to connect the mind, the body, and stay in the journey is so important. So let's talk a little bit about that and how you guide your clients with that aspect.
Yeah, I mean, it is a journey, and ultimately, your belief system is formed. Many experts say between 3 and 7 years old. Now, I'm not saying like mine definitely formed in the womb, but for the most part, if we can guide people, if we can create awareness to what is this current present day situation that's not making me feel good, process the
Mhm.
emotions first. What is it making me believe about myself? I'm not important. Or I'll use mine. I'm not lovable, especially with men. That was been a huge journey. So I'm not lovable. I'm not the one. Those are two are tied together. Okay. Well, where does this come from? Because it comes from somewhere. You just didn't make it up one day and just decide I'm not lovable, right? So we
Yeah.
have to go back to the earliest memories and you start looking at patterns because the patterns are going to show you where you're stuck in the belief system. And I was able to trace it all the way back to the womb space. And I might not have had all
Interesting.
the answers, but I got super curious. And I would go back to a memory when, in school and then around my dad. And and most of it is definitely like 3 to 7, 8 years old. Things happen after, but
Mm-hmm.
usually it will be linked to that
Yeah.
belief system that was formed. And listen, you can do everything. You can understand it. You can bring awareness, but there's two things that must happen. One, that trauma, little t, big T, it doesn't matter. It could be the most simplest thing, like your mom said no, that you couldn't go to a slumber party or you couldn't shave your legs. I don't know. It could be something as minor as that, but it translates as trauma in the body. And if something was suppressed, emotions or a belief was formed, it's in the body somewhere. And we
Mm-hmm.
have to release that. We have to release it. And then we have to use the mind to reprogram.
Let's talk about
And
that.
we have to,
Oh,
yeah.
sorry. Go on.
Well, I just want to add that we have to have a lot of love and compassion and grace for ourselves
Mm-hmm.
because our parents weren't perfect and their parents absolutely weren't perfect. And I think that every generation we're getting better and better,
Mm-hmm.
but there is current life trauma that form the belief systems and that's buried in the body. There's ancestral trauma.
Yep.
And, like there's a lot to unpack. And so you have to be loving and patient with yourself as
Mm-hmm.
you bring this awareness because fear is going to come up, shame's going to come up, anger is going to come up, and grief is going to come up.
Yes. So let's actually take that a step further and how movement and that embodied work release that physical block, because this is what it is. They're not forever traumatic things that are going to keep you a prisoner for the rest of your life. They're simply a block that you are able to remove. So let's talk about that.
Well, okay. So, I mean, there's a lot going on. There's a lot here. I think we both have a lot of, a lot of information in through our own personal journeys, but let's just use the shoulder. Let's say that I'm pointing to my left, right? Yes. My left shoulder is like, wow, showing up. And I'm like, ooh, we could even use your foot injury, but the shoulder, right? And it's like, wow, this is always nagging me. And then it turns chronic. It's like, what is this trying to tell you?
Yeah.
Usually I'm carrying the weight of the world. I'm alone, right? So this is here. And you have to then tie it to this. If I really think about an emotion, if I just close my eyes, like, what does it feel like? Is it bringing up any memories? If I say to myself, wow, I'm carrying the weight of the world, maybe it's tied to a belief that I'm not enough. What does that feel like, not being enough? What does not enough feel like?
Yeah.
For me, it's like I feel anger, which comes up in my solar plexus, like this, ugh. And I feel a lot of grief because I lived a lot of my
Worthlessness.
life. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like, wow, I've spent my whole life in this belief system. So we have to express the anger by actually moving it out of the body through shaking or breath work,
Mm-hmm.
or simply giving it the 90-second show and being like, I'm going to allow myself to feel angry. There's a lot of anger in the world. So even if I can't process it for myself, I'm going to process it for the world, but I'm going to process anger right now. So if I were to be like a super rock star on the stage and I'm like the best actress up for a Grammy, how would I express anger?
Right? You wouldn't.
No, I'm saying where we're going
Oh,
is
I
giving
see.
ourselves 90 seconds to actually make some sound. What does anger sound like? What
Oh,
does
I
it feel
see.
like
Yeah.
in the body? What do
Yeah.
you want? How do you want to move your body to get it out and expressed? 90 seconds, it closes the trauma cycle and it's done.
Do you know
That's
what I
it.
started to
Not
do? I've
what?
started to give myself worry windows. So if I'm getting,
Oh,
I've had a lot, those last few years have been pretty tough, probably hardest in my life. And I've just, like you said, what are you doing? You complaining every day? Are you thinking of all the things, all the people that wronged you, all the things that went wrong? So that was a big problem when I started getting my cognitive behavioral therapy, which is incredible. Like cognitive,
amazing.
it's amazing. CBT. Yeah. If you
All
just,
the
even
same.
if
Yeah.
you don't want to, read up on it, it's life-changing. But oh shoot, where was I going with that, Lulu? There's the menopause.
That you would give yourself worry windows.
Oh yeah, the worry windows. So I've started to do that. And when I catch myself, because it is keeping yourself in check, getting
Yeah.
curious, okay,
Hmm.
that's coming. Okay, you know what, Nichole? You can worry about that later. That's in your worry window. And then I'm actually finding there's some days where I'm like, I don't need my worry window. And it
So with the
sounds
worry
so
window, are
silly.
you? No, it's not at all. I love this. So with the worry window, are you giving yourself time to go back and
Yep.
say, why am I worried? Like
Yep.
spend 10 minutes with it?
And it
And
works.
what is worry? With worry, what belief is coming up for you? When
So
you're always worried, what belief is coming up?
well, just silly things like, it could be money, it could be relationships, it could be, if a promo is going to work, if I'm going to have enough time to complete a project. So that stress that I put on myself, that extra
Yep.
weight I put on my shoulders, when I feel that I'm doing that to myself internally now, I stop it in its tracks. I say, interesting, you can do that later. No, and your brain listens to you. Your brain believes if
Yeah.
you're constantly complaining, well, guess what your brain's going to do? It's going to point out all the things that are wrong to help
Yeah.
you out. It's going to give you more.
So what is worry when you open up the worry window and give yourself a few minutes to sit and worry? What does it sound like?
Well, to be honest with you, at first, it was a lot of just the repetition, the rumination in my head of all the little
Yeah.
issues in my day that bother me. I have a
So
little,
are you like speaking it out loud?
yeah,
Wow, I'm really worried.
yeah,
I'm worried about my
yeah.
relationship right now. I'm worried about where my job is, what my income's going, all these things.
And
And
then I
then
break it down.
and then
Yeah.
okay, you break
And
it
then
down.
I separate those emotions for a second and get curious about the emotions. When I say separate, I mean don't let them control me.
Well, those are thoughts. So
There
I'm
you go.
worried about
Better
X,
way to
Y,
put
and
it.
Z. So
Yeah.
those are thoughts. So
Yeah.
what are the emotions attached
To
to
that
the
thought.
thoughts?
Yeah.
Worry is usually attached to fear, right? I'm afraid.
I
I'm
guess it's the
petrified.
same concept that in the middle of the night, and when I started doing this, this helped as well. If I
Hmm.
have something going on in my head, I'll write a list. If I get up in the middle
Yep.
of the night and I can't stop thinking about it, or I'm worried I'm going to forget that thing, just the very act of writing it down helps me go back to sleep. It's the same thing in the moment. If I'm having a stressful moment, I can feel the emotions, or I can feel the anger, I can feel whatever that human emotion is. I honor it. I respect
Do
it. I
you
get
express
curious.
it? Do you like, oh,
It depends in the
angry
moment.
right now?
During my worry window, yes.
Okay.
But I don't
All
let
right.
it get the best of me during my day, because that is the thing. You have to, when you take personal responsibility for your emotions, your thoughts, your actions, but I don't mean personal responsibility for the rest of the world. I think that's important too.
Yes,
We all have
totally.
to be, show up for our friends, family in this world, because if we don't, what are we offering? But it also allows me to get present with myself in a moment and give myself the grace in that moment. Because I'm with ADHD, with menopause, with all the things up against me, I tend to, overthink, spiral out of control at times, and
Yeah.
catastrophize, right? I'm
Yeah.
really good at
So
that.
there's an emotion tied to that. And
Yeah.
even deeper than that, there is a belief. I
Yes.
have to do it alone. I'm
Yeah.
not enough. Oh God, it's going to fall apart. I'm whatever. I'm not worthy. It could be anything, but it's tied to the worry is tied to a belief. So taking it one step deeper is like, what is all of this making me believe about myself? Number one, what am I feeling? You must connect to the emotions. So if you're feeling anger or whatever, frustrated, you must express that. And a lot of us don't even, we're like stuck because we've never given ourselves permission to feel that.
Yeah.
We
And
just
maybe
shove it
that's the
down.
worry window. Maybe that's what's working for me, is because it's giving myself permission. It's
Yeah.
giving myself. And the funny thing, one thing I've noticed is during my worry window, I write down, I have my list of things that have come into my head that have started to bother me in my journal, right? So going over
Hmm.
those, a
Cool.
lot of the times I'm finding myself now going, oh, actually, you know what? That doesn't bother me. And why that's important is because your brain's listening. And every
Yeah.
time you check yourself, every time you say, actually, I wholeheartedly feel that was actually a silly emotion. Interesting that I felt that way. And I understand why. But I'm going to have a little grace with myself and then carry on. The emotional empowerment with
Yeah.
that, and the
And it's
control.
also like, just to tie this all back to the inner child, it's taking a moment to be like, when I worry about that, how old am I?
Ooh, I like that.
How old am I? And what did she experience? Because it's really important that your inner child, who is a major part in the driving the bus, making decisions, like she needs to feel safe, he or she needs to feel safe.
Yeah.
And so if you are really what you're reacting to is an 8-year-old that's really scared that she's going to fail because she's not enough, how do you nurture and tend to her and bring her into your heart space? I'm saying her because we're two women talking,
Yeah.
but how do you nurture and tender that part of you into your heart space saying, listen, I got you.
Yeah.
I got you, because we are enough. We
Yeah.
are enough. And if I was enough, what decision would I make right now? If I knew that
I love
everything was
that.
working out for me, if everything was working out, because it always does,
Mm-hmm.
and if the world, if the universe, God is conspiring for you, never against you, and you knew it was going to work out because you're enough, what would be the next inspired action? Or could I let that just be,
How
right?
would you show up differently for yourself?
How would you show up differently?
Yeah.
Would you actually worry about it? And so, yeah, it's like, yeah, it's a process, but I feel like emotional intelligence is really, really important. 90 seconds, guys, it's all it takes. If you were an actor, put yourself on stage. What does anger feel like? What does it sound like? How does your body want to move and get it out of the body?
And
And then
get
you
her
sit with
out.
what is exactly, and then you sit with what is this situation making me believe about myself? How old am I right now, really? Because most adults, if you've done some sort of work and you're like really in touch with yourself, you may be like, oh my God, that's my 8-year-old coming up again. But if you haven't done the work, then it's a journey, a bigger journey. but it can be fast once you have awareness.
I'm going to start doing that for my worry windows. I'm going to start identifying where that fear, because worry windows are
And
just
it's
your
not,
fear.
yep. And it's not, I have to like say that a lot of us, we've been trained from the mind to just push away the mind. I can overcome it with my
Yeah.
mind. But really, what needs to be felt is the 8-year-old girl who didn't feel very safe and somehow formulated a belief that I'm not enough or lovable or important. And I just need to bring her in and let her know that I've got you.
Yeah.
I've got you. And if you believe in a religion and you believe in God, a God like part is part
Yep.
of your religion, you have to know that God has you.
Yeah. He does.
Yeah.
That's super powerful. And it's incredible to when you get to that moment, when you start feeling the power within and the transformation that can happen, and it's one small shift. When you start doing that internal work and you start taking that personal responsibility and you start working on emotional resilience, not just
Yeah.
intelligence, resilience, being able to, get yourself out of an emotion if you're kind of getting a little bit overboard with something, and to be able to keep yourself grounded, acknowledge your emotions and feelings,
Yeah.
and accept them. But then the understanding of them and it's life changing. Like, you can't, there's no words. For once, I have no
No.
words.
Yeah. And my new thing is I'm afraid, like had Steve with this work that I'm going out and I'm in Bend and I'm putting myself out there to do energy work, like in group sessions and private sessions and stuff. And I just woke up with like, oh God. I was like, Steve, I just want to acknowledge that I'm really afraid. And I can see it's just false evidence appearing real. And it's just my little girl that maybe needs a little more tending to, to know that we're safe and we're not going to be judged, that we're safe. And I'm going to go out there anyway and just put myself out there. I'm going to write a
There it
letter to a
is.
yoga studio.
Yeah.
So it's an and, it's not like or, it's and. I feel afraid and I'm still going to go to the gym today. I don't care what I look like. I see that all
There
of
it
these things
is.
are stopping me. I'm scared and I'm still going to go and do something.
Because you do that, you teach your brain that it can trust you every single
Safe,
time.
safety, safety,
Yep.
safety, safety,
Yep.
safety.
It
Nervous
has to
system.
trust you every
Yeah.
time.
And I use the breath all the time. I use breath and body. So when I'm feeling afraid, you'll see me when I'm talking, I'm like, okay, I take a big breath. I lengthen out the exhale. I'm like, okay, I'm afraid right now. And that's okay.
Yeah.
And I see what's going on and I have awareness. And I'm still going to take that next inspired step, even if I'm afraid. The fear doesn't go away. You just get more comfortable with it.
There.
I'm sure you know this with stage work. Like, oh my God, I've been running from stage work all my life. Never
It's
want to be
it's
seen.
and it can go either way, but the biggest thing is just what you said, not letting the fear take over, being humble to it,
Yeah,
understanding where it's coming from, but working your way through it and giving yourself the grace in that moment. Lulu,
yeah.
you and I could chat for
Wow.
hours.
We're already over.
I have to tell you one thing here before we close this up. It just came to me when you were talking. This was before you and I had ever even connected personally. I remember a moment watching you with because we met through a mentorship program, and thinking to myself, some of the questions you were asking, I'm like, how bold is she to ask those questions? And I was just thinking how incredible you were, and thinking, no way that she's got that fear, because you voiced some fear. And I was like, there's no way a woman like that would have that fear. And it was like this idea that we have that other people aren't going through that at the same time, right? And this
Yeah.
just case in point, we're all on our own journey. So don't beat yourself up over it.
No. And don't let it stop you.
There
Like,
it is.
take your power back.
Yes.
You can create anything and everything. When I say you, I'm talking to whoever's watching this, show right now. It's
Right.
like you can create anything. I've done it over and over. You've done it, Nichole. I mean,
Yep.
we can literally, anything's there, but you also need to find out what's going on inside that's stopping you dead in your tracks.
That's right. And they can do that by reaching out to lovely coaches like yourself, my friend. Thank you so much for sharing your
Oh my God.
journey
Thank you, Nichole.
and all of these strategies, because man, it really is, it's life-changing. So before we hop off here, why don't you tell our listeners, how do they reach you if you have
Oh yeah.
anything that you want to share that can help them along their way?
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, if you know, most of my women, I have retreats for women. So that's under, www.swellwomen.com. I have an Instagram, everything's Swell Women. If you personally want to connect with me, it's lulu.agan, Agan. That's on Instagram. And, really fun things. Like if you're getting curious and you just want to jumpstart the journey, I have an incredible retreat in the Dominican Republic. It's 3 nights, 4 days. And it's like, it's going in and it's a journey. And there's lots of fun modalities being taught by 7 different facilitators, including yoga and dance, and with me, energy work and breath. And it's going to be and mindset shifts. It's amazing, and that's coming up April 16th to the 19th, and it's for women. But yeah, and if you ever find yourself in the Bend area between now and the end of April, just message me. We can connect.
Well,
I love meeting people.
I hope they
And then
do.
I go to Bali and Bali. Then I go to Bali in September. So, and then in the in between, I'm all around the United States traveling in a camper van with my beloved partner. So, but I love meeting people. So don't hesitate to ever reach out.
My friends, go to the Swell Women website, because I was so mesmerized by what you do, Lulu, and the lives you've changed. I'm so proud of you. And it's
Thank
taken
you.
that hard times in our lives and reevaluated it, and showing up for the world the way that you have has been incredible. The
Thank you, Nichole.
You're welcome. The comeback season isn't about waiting for life to get easy. It's about having the grit to stay in alignment when it gets hard. You've heard the strategies and you felt the truth today. Now it's time to move it from your head into your life. Stop negotiating with your potential and start embodying the woman and man you were designed to be. Thank you so much for tuning into the comeback season. Take that one intentional action today, and we will see you next week. Thank you for joining us on the comeback season. Please remember, the conversations we share here are for informational and motivational purposes only. We are not licensed medical professionals, and this podcast is not intended to diagnose, treat, or replace guidance from your doctor or your healthcare provider. Always consult your healthcare team before making changes to your nutrition, your fitness, or your mental health routines. Your health and well-being comes first, and we want you to move forward safely with the right support for your journey.